Hi everyone. As it stands, I haven't activated my wildcard for game week 26, but after last night's FA Cup games and the confirmation of blanks and doubles, and also after looking at Ben Quellin's spreadsheet that we can see on screen there, I've decided to have a go at a first draft wildcard in order to navigate game week 26, double game week 27, blank game week 28, and double game week 29. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So here's my team right now. I've taken away all of my players. And I feel that coming on to the goalkeepers first and foremost, because we know that Brentford have the double-double coming up and Brighton have just a single double, that I feel it's definitely worth considering having Raya and also Sanchez straight away from the goalkeeping position. So let me just pop them there. There he is. So Raya and Sanchez straight in goal. And then coming on to my defence, can just make wholesale changes right now with Akanji, Bueno, Trippier and Shaw in my team right now. But I feel that with Ben Mee and the form that he's been in this season, it just makes sense to have him and double up on Brentford's defence for this double-double. So in we go. And also crucially, Brentford do not blank during this period either, from game week 26 right up to double game week 29. And I feel that with Ben Mee, I'm hoping because of his position that he'd be less of a risk when it comes to rotation. And then coming on to my next defender, you've guessed it, I've gone for a Brighton defender, and it has to be Lewis Dunk. So I did think about getting a Stupinan in, but he's yellow flagged, and my concern is that his minutes might be managed due to the position that he plays. I feel that with Mee and Dunk, you'd really hope that they get the maximum number of minutes in this next 4 to 5 game week window. So double Brighton defence and double Brentford defence. And then coming on to my next defender, in some ways, I feel that my next defender, who I would reluctantly have in my team, but you need a stocking filler in your squad as well, is going to be Perot of Southampton, 4.1 million. So for the most part, he'll be a sub 3 option. And with Southampton, they also have their double game week in 27, albeit it's Man United at Old Trafford and Brentford at home. I might start him potentially, but he doesn't blank crucially in blank game week 28. So if I really needed to start him, I could. So he comes in as a backup for my team. And then coming on to my next defender, we now know that Arsenal shouldn't be having any blanks for the remainder of the season. So I have to pick an Arsenal defender. And again, we know that when it comes to Arsenal's fullbacks, there's been a bit of rotation. I've got Saliba and Gabriel as options as well. And I've gone for Gabriel purely because he's 0.1 cheaper. And yeah, I could have got Zinchenko and White as well, but I just wanted like a safe pair of hands at this moment in time. So Gabriel has effectively come into my team and Ben White has gone. And then lastly, when it comes to my defensive options, I'm going to go to Newcastle, but reluctantly, even though I can afford getting Trippier in this first draft, I'm going to go for Botman. And with Botman, he's significantly cheaper. And in the event that Newcastle find some form as well with clean sheets, I'd hope that I can benefit from that on a value basis because he's only 4.5 million. And of course, Newcastle have the double in 29 with United at home and West Ham away. And also Newcastle don't blank in 28. So Botman, I would hope, can do a job for me during that period. So that's my defence. Mee, Dunk, Perot, Gabriel and Botman. Now coming on to my midfield, and this is something that I need to correct straight away. I've not owned Saka at all this season. I had him for my free hit in blank double 25, but he's just not been in my team at all, despite the sensational form he's basically been showing since October, November of this year. So I have to correct that, and I have to get Saka into my team. In he comes. And then coming on to my next midfielder, I had Odegaard in my team, and I also Martinelli as well, which unfortunately, because of the free hit, I missed out on his haul, but it is what it is. So between the two, I feel that because Martinelli has rediscovered his form, even though Odegaard might be a safer pick to some degree, I'm happy to keep Martinelli in this first draft squad. So Martinelli and Saka make up my first two midfielders. And then coming on to my next midfielder, again, he was on something of a purple patch not that long ago, but he's gone a bit quiet of late, and it has to be Mitoma of Brighton. I know March has also done really well this season, but at 5.3 million, and just because of the prowess he's shown, I'm hoping that Mitoma can deliver the goods again, especially with a double game week coming up as well. And if I feel that he's not showing the form that I wanted, then potentially he could be a future sub one option as well. And then coming on to my next player, going to restore Rashford. There's absolutely no way that Marcus Rashford leaves my FPL team. He's been arguably one of the players of the season alongside Haaland, so he's going to stay. Of course, United have that blank coming up as well in 28, so I've got to navigate that blank with him in, but Rashford is staying in my team. And then lastly, to complete my midfield lineup, this might seem a bit random, but I've got some logic behind it as well, that it has to be Maddison as my fifth midfielder. And I know he's yellow flagged at the moment, but he's been so integral to Leicester in the Premier League this season and also the season before. And if he is fully fit for this weekend, Leicester will need him. They'll count on him, especially with a good, well, reasonable run of games. Southampton away, Chelsea at home, and we know how problematic they've been. Of course, Brentford away will be tricky in 28, and also Leicester have the double in 29 with Crystal Palace away and Aston Villa at home. So Leicester need wins. They need goals right now to avoid relegation. So somewhat of a different pick, and I've decided to trust him in this first draft. Now, coming on to my strikers for this draft, again, I've talked about Brentford's double-double, and there's absolutely no way I'm going to go without Ivan Toney in my team. So here he is. Just get him on. There we go. Ivan Toney. And, subject to him hopefully starting the upcoming games. I know there's been speculation for other reasons, but he's in my team right now. 7.6 million. Shown good form this season as well. So he's an absolute must-have for me. Coming on to my next striker, Haaland, again, season keeper. There's absolutely no way I'm going to sell him. He has to be in my team. And of course, as I've mentioned, there's that blank in 28, which Man City will have. And again, I'll have to make do with him there as well. And then lastly, coming on to my final striker, it has to be Harry Kane. I did contemplate getting Ollie Watkins in as well, because Ollie Watkins has the double in 29. But my thinking is that Aston Villa have a good run of games, but I feel that with Kane as well, there's that pressure for Tottenham to push for the Champions League. And I'd argue that, Villa's fixtures with Watkins, Palace, West Ham, Bournemouth, and then they've got the double, and then you've got Tottenham, Wolves, Forest, Southampton, Everton are fairly comparable. And Watkins' form, of course, has been absolutely sensational as well. But my thinking is that if I was to get Ollie Watkins in, it would literally be when double game week 29 actually happens, as opposed to so early on. And what that leaves me effectively with in that case is a team with 1.2 million in the bank. And with that, what it essentially means is that for double game week 27, just coming back onto the spreadsheet that I shared earlier, that's Ben Crellin's spreadsheet, I'll effectively have 6 to 7 double game week players for double game week 27. And it would mean that I can roll the free transfer in double game week 27. And then coming on to blank game week 28, I should have 10 players who should hopefully start. And then I can use the one free transfer to make it 11. And then coming on to double game week 29, because I've rolled the free transfer from the week before and only used once in 28, I've got 2 free transfers for double game week 29. And with this wildcard draft, I've got 9 double game week players from the get-go. And I would activate my bench boost in double game week 29. And if it means taking a -8 to make my double game week 29 contingency move from 9 players to 13 players, I would almost certainly do that as well. So there you have it. So with this squad, I've got cash in the bank in the event I need to shift some players as well. But there's hopefully enough safety and enough cover for double game week 27, blank game week 28, and double game week 29. For some people, they might say that it's super early wildcarding, but in my instance and where I'm ranked, I'm willing to take that chance. I don't want to just sit about hovering about and just hoping for the best. I feel that I want to attack the remaining doubles as well, and it's something that I did in the previous season and the season before that, and I was fortunate to finish in the top 5k in each of those instances. Not that that will happen again this time around, but every situation is different. Some people might actually wildcard literally from double game week 27 onwards, but there really is, in my opinion, an upswing opportunity here. So I'm willing to, redo the team so that I can benefit with these upcoming blanks and doubles. So of course, there will be more blanks coming up, as we can see, blank game week 32, and then potential doubles in 34 and 37 as well. My worry always is that the later it goes in the season, especially towards the end of the season, I feel that there is even more rotation, especially with those teams that are in domestic cup competitions or also in European cup competitions as well. So I would feel more inclined to bench boost now, i.e. 29, than I would in 37. And again, some people happily wait till then and wildcard a lot later. I just want to gain some momentum and traction by taking affirmative action now for my team. I've shared my team, first wildcard draft, and my thinking behind it. Let me know in the comments below if your thinking is along the same lines as well. And be sure to also follow Ben Crellin, not that you don't follow him, you almost certainly do, on Twitter, and check out his latest spreadsheet as well. So take care and all the best.